Hello, welcome back to another episode of Talk 225. I am your host, Mamadou. You can say MD. Some people have been saying MD, but I'm Mamadou. You know, this episode is a little different from episodes 1 and 2 because this time we're talking about something that affects both sports and eSports. So I'm going to title it The Death of the Athlete. Simple as that. What do you think that means? The death of the athlete. What does that even entail? Feel me? In episode 1, we built on the digital stadium. We expanded on the digital stadium, the rise of esports, how it's gonna take over, what's gonna happen, why people should get into it. In episode 2, we redefined the athlete. Who plays it? Who plays the game? What makes you an athlete? Can an esport player be considered an athlete? That got a lot of folks mad. I'm not even finna lie. That's a fact though. But there were some good points made. There were some good points raised, and people enjoyed it. So this is gonna be a bridge between the two. That's a fact. So today we have to talk about what happens when the lights turn off, when the stadium's empty out, when the servers shut down completely. What happens to the athlete when the game is over? What happens to the esports player when the game is over? Like, we gotta talk about that, bro. That's something that's incredibly insane because that's something that's not talked about enough. Feel me? That's the part nobody shows you. That's a part that's not on ESPN. That's the part that's not posted on TikTok. That's the part that's not posted on Instagram Reels, bro. But that's the real story. That's a fact. That's a real story, bro. That's just how it be, man. Who are you when you're done with your sport? That's a lot of problems that a lot of people gotta go through. What happens to the athlete when the game is over? The reason why I feel beginning this episode is important with this discussion is because a couple of days ago I got a phone call. I was talking to somebody about my vision of Talk 225, and we were just chatting it up because he's seen my previous episodes, episode 1 and 2. Then we just started chatting it up. I was talking to him about what I envisioned for this podcast to be, how I envisioned it for it to grow, and I was talking about the esports economy, the numbers, the viewership, everything. But then I took a detour. You feel me? I told him underneath all the gaming talk, underneath all the sports talk, all the data, everything that is that I'm doing, I told him about my real goal of Talk 225, which is to build a community, a space for athletes who feel completely lost when the game is done. You feel me? A space for athletes who gotta understand that even without your game, even without the sport that you're playing, it's still you at the end of the day. It's still you at the end of the day. And during the discussion, I recall mentioning about athlete identity foreclosure and how that impacts a lot of athletes. And then the guy on the other end, he got real quiet. He stopped and he just said, "Thank you." That caught me off guard because I'm like, "Thank you. Why are you thanking me for it?" You feel me? I just felt that it was something important to be talked about. But he said, "Thank you." He said, "Thank you, Mamadou." He said, "Thank you, Mamadou. Thank you for bringing this into fruition." Because when he was done playing, he had no idea who he was, what he was doing, the struggle that he had to go through. He was completely lost. Completely lost, bro. And this call just sat with me. It stayed with me for a bit. I'm like, damn. This is really bigger than I imagined it to be. You feel me? And it was just one person who saw my episode. You feel me? So that's how we gotta start with this episode, man. Because he's not alone. You feel me? I've been there. A lot of people have been there. If you played anything at a high level, you most definitely been there. If your career just stops, if you play at a high level for a certain time from a very young age all the way to you finish college, all the way to even you go pro, you finish pro, You come back when that's done. A lot of athletes, a lot of former athletes go through identity foreclosure. You feel me? It's almost like we spend our entire lives building a momentum to a sport. We spend our entire lives building our entire identity around the jersey, around the ranking, around the team, and then one day it just evaporates. The whole thing just stops. I'm like, damn, what's going on? I'm like, am I lost? What's up? This is genuine questions. I'm not even capping, gang. This is real life, real questions. Like, what is done is done, man. Who are you when that's done? Who are you when the jersey comes off? Who are you when this is off you? That's the topic at hand. So today we are not just talking about the rise of the stadium. We are talking about the collapse of the player. You feel me? We're talking about the collapse of the player. We're talking about the psychological trap called identity foreclosure. Because it's something real, bro. It's something real, bro. This is just, man, bro, I don't even know. It's something that's not even talked about enough, bro, at all. It's not even talked about enough at all, bro. Matter of fact, let me give y'all some facts. Some facts. There was a study published in the Journal of Applied Sports Psychology that found that over 80% of former athletes experience some level of identity loss after retirement. 80%, gang. That's only 20% away from 100. That's not crazy. That's a huge percentage. That is a huge percentage, bro. It's crazy, bro. And then another NCAA back study showed that nearly two out of 5, you feel me? 2 out of 5 college athletes report mental health struggles tied to transition out of sports. 2 out of 5. Damn, bro, that's damn near 40%, if I'm not mistaken. 20, 40, 68. Yeah, 20, 40, 68. That's damn near 40%, if I'm not mistaken. That's 40% of college athletes who report mental health struggles tied to transition out of sports. And those are just the ones that are willing to admit it. You feel me? Those are just the ones that are willing to admit what they've been going through. If you ever played sports or played anything at a high level, matter of fact, this doesn't even just have to deal with sports. I'm pretty sure entertainers also go through this. Like, if you've been a musician your whole life and you just stop making music, you know what I mean? Or if you're an artist and you lost your art form, your art form, like, what's an artist without his art form? That was somebody's quote. I read that somewhere. Definitely did. But yeah, it's the same thing with athletes. It is the same thing with athletes, bro. Because you just don't play the game, you become it. You feel me? You spend your entire lives building a momentum to a sport. You feel your whole identity around it. A jersey, a number, a position, a ranking, a team. And then it all just disappears. No warning, no nothing, no transition, no blueprint, just straight silence. Straight silence, bro. So that's the topic of today, man. The psychological trap called identity foreclosure. Now, let me break this down. Let me break this down, bro. In clinical terms, identity foreclosure is what happens when a person commits to an identity. So essentially, it's just what happens to a person when they solely stick to a certain role and don't explore any other option outside of this one role. Feel me? You accept that role that the world has handed to you, and you never question it whatsoever. You don't question it at all. You just, hey, I've been playing this sport my whole life, so I'm a football player. I've been playing this sport my whole life, so I'm a basketball player. I'm a lacrosse player. I've been playing the bass my whole life. Bass. Yeah, that's a, you know what I mean? That's a guitar. Hold on. That's a guitar. Bass. Bass? Or is that the, either way, don't matter if it's a drum or if it's a guitar. Nah, I'm pretty sure the bass is electrical. You've been playing the bass your whole life. You're a bass player. All of a sudden you stop and now it's gone. You feel me? Identity foreclosure is what happens when you accept the role that the world handed to you and you never question it. For an athlete, it looks like this. You're in 8 years old. Let's say you're 8 years old. You're fast. Or let's say you're 12 years old. And your hand-eye coordination is insane. You're able to catch. You're able to throw crazy. So your parents put you on the travel team. They put you on the travel team. You start grinding ranked lobbies. And from that moment on, every piece of positive reinforcement you get from society is tied directly to your performance. It's tied directly to what you could do on the field, essentially. So that makes you believe, hey, I am this. This is my gift to y'all. This is my gift to y'all is to be this athlete. And then coaches tell you you're special. Your friends don't know you as the guy who plays the game. Your family asks about your stats at dinner time. Your Twitter bio says athlete, pro player, whatever. A whole bunch of things, whatever. And you never have to figure out who you actually are as a person. Because the world already decided that for you. So you don't got to figure out for yourself. You're an athlete. Or you're an artist. That's it. Feel me? That is your utility to the world. That is it. And that feels powerful. It feels like a superpower until the day that shit is gone. Until the day it is all done. Let's say you graduated, or let's say you got an injury, you tore your ACL. Maybe you just weren't good enough to go pro. You know what I mean? Or maybe the meta change in your organization dropped you. You know what I mean? Shit happens, bro. At the end of the day, shit happens. But once that machine spits you out, once that locker room is gone, once the Discord server goes quiet and the schedule is gone, and you look at the mirror and you look at yourself and you realize you spent 15 plus 5. Plus 5. You feel me? Plus 5. You spent 15 years building a resume for a job that just fired you? Like, come on, gang. It's March Madness right now. So all these basketball players going crazy. In fact, Howard, shout out to the HBCU, is playing Michigan tonight. Hey, I'm saying, I don't know what's going to happen. They play in about a couple hours. Damn, I'm losing track. But I'm saying, though, you spent 15 years building a resume for a job that just fired you. That's identity foreclosure. That's what it is. You're foreclosed on every other version of yourself. Every other possibilities of what you could do, of who you are, of where you can go. That's just... none of that matters because you were stuck in this one vision, this one tunnel of this one purpose that you believe you had fulfilled. You foreclose yourself on every other version of yourself. You know, the writer, the businessman, the artist, the thinker. Now you're just an athlete. And when the athlete dies, when the athlete is gone, when the athlete dies and the athlete is gone, when the athlete dies and the athlete is gone, bruh, you feel like you died. You feel like you died. And that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. You feel like you died. I personally, I live this. I play Division I lacrosse. I know what it means to tire daily. Oh my God. Ah, man, okay. I know what it means to tire daily. I wonder if I can charge this. Give me a second, man. Ain't no edits. We finna do this through and through. We finna do this through and through. Hold on. Ain't no edits. Ain't no edits. Ain't none of that. We finna do this through and through. Hold on, gang. Give me a second. There we go. There we go. Okay, back to what I was saying, though. When an athlete dies, when you stop playing your sport, you feel like you died. You know what I mean? As I was saying, I play Division I lacrosse. I know what it means to tie yourself daily to self-worth on the depth chart. Tie yourself daily to your self-worth and the performance that you do on the field. I know what it feels like to wake up at 5:30 a.m. every morning. Shit, even earlier. Some people wake up at 3, 4:30. Feel me? You break your body down and you convince yourself that this is who you're meant to be. This is what you're meant to do in the world. This is your gift to the world, bruh. This is who you are meant to be. But colleges, universities, they don't prepare you for that exit at all. They try to do their best to place you in a market, a job working market, because that translation of an athlete to the business field is damn near identical. But that ain't who you is. You feel me? That ain't who you is. They will spend millions of dollars on your physical recovery. Colleges, universities will spend millions of dollars on your physical recovery, ice bath, nutritionist, sports and medicine. But what do they have for your psychological recovery when your eligibility is done? What do they got for your mental clarity when you're no longer a part of a unit, a part of a team? Like, bro, a generic career fair? Like, what are we talking about? What, they give you a firm handshake, say good luck in the corporate world? Come on, gang. Come on, gang. Like, we treat athletes like high performance rental cars, if I'm being real with y'all. We drive them fast, we use them up, and when the lease is over, you park them and walk away. It'd be crazy, bro. It'd be crazy, bro. That is essentially identity foreclosure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It came from developmental psychology. You commit to an identity, you don't explore any alternatives. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. That's an important topic that I believe should really be discussed. It should really, really be discussed because there are certain parts of it where it gets dangerous. Because you feel like every other version of you disappeared. You feel like, damn, this person that I was this whole time is now gone. They create a version of you, the intellectual version of you, the entrepreneurial version of you. Those never get to develop fully because they're not rewarded as much as it is when you make a bucket. You throw a football down the field 50 some yards. You feel me? So you specialize, you optimize, you become elite in one specific field of sports, but you also become fragile in every other area because you never discover who you are outside of that. Feel me? Now, let me drop another fact just to make it even more clearer. In the NCAA, less than 2%. So less than 2, you feel me? 1.9% or even less. Less than 2% of college athletes go pro. In professional sports, the average career is short. NFL, 3.3 years. NBA, 4.5 years, unless you're LeBron James, playing 23 seasons. I believe he'll go for 24 as a tribute to Kobe being Bryant. But hey, man, it'd be nice. It's up to him to decide if you want to do that or not. So, those are just some facts, bro. Systematically speaking, the entire system is designed for your career to end, but nobody prepares you for that ending. So what happens when the machine spits you out, when the system spits you out? What happens when that locker room is gone, when that schedule is gone, when that structure is gone, that identity is gone? That gets you thinking, that gets you questioning, who am I? Like, what am I without all of this? What am I without all of this, bro? Who am I? What can I do, bro? And that question is terrifying for a lot of people. That question is terrifying because for the first time in your life, you gotta recognize that nobody's coming to save you. You have no script. You ain't got nothing. You just gotta take steps forward, day by day, and keep grinding, bruh. And that's real. Nobody hands you a new identity. They just say good luck. They give you a handshake. They give you a diploma. Good luck. You feel me? It's crazy, bro. It's being insane. Now, why am I talking about this on Talk 225? Why am I bringing up sports psychology into an eSports podcast? Because if you really think about it, because if you think this is a bad transition, wow. If you think transitioning out of sports is bad in traditional sports, in eSports, it's like a silent epidemic. My hands is up, man. That's a fact. I'm not even lying, not a single bit. Look at me. I ain't blinking. So it's a fact, gang. Like, what we talking about, bro? The exact same identity crisis happening in the digital space happens in the traditional space. You feel me? The exact same identity crisis that happened in the traditional space happens in the digital space. You feel me? The only difference is that happens a lot faster in the digital space, a lot faster in the esports world, and it's happening to kids who are way too young to even process what's going on. You feel me? In traditional sports, an athlete, they usually retire around 33, 34, 35 years old. They have a decade of adulthood to figure out things, figure out what they want to do. They even have degrees, so they went to college. But in esports game, you become a vet at 23. You damn near washed up by 25. Like your reaction time drops, the game gets a massive patch update, and it's like you don't know what's going on no more. But a 16-year-old kid comes along, grind for a couple of hours with zero sleep, and just out aims the shit out of you, just beating you in every aspect of the game, every aspect of the field. Imagine going through a midlife crisis as a 23-year-old. That's esports. Now, I mean, that's college sports too. But imagine being 19 and making hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have millions of followers on Twitch. Your entire self-worth is tied to your rank in League of Legends or Call of Duty or Dota or Volta. You feel me? You drop out of high school, you even skip college to go pro because the money was just there. The money is gold. I mean, that shit was there. And all of a sudden, you're 22. Your organization drops you like FaZe. I mean, I ain't got. Hey, that just slipped out, bro. Y'all do whatever y'all got to do. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Let's say you're 22, your organization just drops you. The chat stopped moving. The sponsors stopped coming. You have carpal tunnels on your right wrist. It's like, damn, what you doing? You're just a young kid, gang. You're just a young kid, gang. You're just 22. You had mills, but now you ain't got nothing. You're not good at the game no more. It's like, bro, you have absolutely no real world skills on paper. Like, that is terrifying, dog. That is terrifying, dog. That's how identity foreclosure happens to esports players. You feel me? Not just traditional athletes. Like, these esports kids, they're facing the exact same existential trauma as a D1 hooper or a minor league baseball player. That's a fact, bro. The interface is different, though. You feel me? The crisis, however, that's identical. The crisis is identical. Ain't nothing else to be said about that. It's an identical crisis. People think because you're not a pro gamer anymore, that you're not anything. Matter of fact, I asked this question the other day. I said, how come when athletes no longer play in their sports, people treat them as if they're just some sort of, as if they're nobody, like they ain't doing nothing. You feel me? Like, what's a good example? Jason Kidd? Nah, he's people still know Jason Kidd. There are athletes out there in the NBA that did hella shit who are just not known or talked about no more. And I'm pretty sure they're going to something like that. You feel me? It's impactful because it's like, damn, I'm trying to remember a name, but I can't even get the name right. Damn, bro. But either way, dog. Identity foreclosure is a real problem, not just in sports, but in esports too. And the esports industry is ruthless about this. There is no player union to catch them up. There is no alumni or network. It's just a 16-year-old kid. It's just the next 16-year-old kid to come up. The next kid to come up. You feel me? That's it. Next person takes a step in the chair. That's it, bro. But when the esports player retires, society tells them, hey, bro, just become a content creator. But what if they don't want to? What if they want to build something else? What if they want to enter the business world? But they feel paralyzed because their entire identity was focused on the video game. Just like how athletes feel paralyzed that their entire identity was focused on a particular sport. But once that sport spits you out, once that video game don't jack you no more, who is you? And that's something that's not really talked about, gang. That's something that's not really discussed. You feel me? That's something that just goes over a lot of people's head, man. It's like accountability. Just goes over a lot of people's head, bro. I'm saying. This is why, though. This is why the traditional sports world and the esports world We need to talk to each other because the bridge is just getting closer and it's ever connecting. You feel me? It sounds like I be chatting, but if you listen to the words, I ain't just chatting. I'm spitting facts. I'm spitting facts and dropping knowledge, gang. Like, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. The hooper who needs gave out at 22, and the Call of Duty player pro who risk gave out at 22. They were fighting the exact same goals, gang. They were fighting the exact same goal, gang. I'm saying, like, the average peak performance in esports is from 16 to about 22. Because around the 20s, your reaction time starts declining. And in games like CSGO, League, and Valorant, milliseconds matter. Them shits is crucial. So your career is a lot shorter, gang. And let's say you did not go to college, you did skip high school even. When that money started coming in, it's like, bro, you gotta figure this shit out on your own, gang. Ain't nothing else. In fact, let me drop some facts, bro. In 2023, a report from Nuzo showed Nuzo. My fault. I don't mean no disrespect and getting y'all names wrong. Nuzu showed, yeah, I got that. Nuzu. A report from Nuzu showed that the global sports audience surpassed 500 million people. The global esports audience surpassed 500 million people. I don't even know 500 million people, bro. Let alone 1,000. Like, what is he? Like, personal? Like, come on, bro. That industry generates billion plus annually. Annually. But let me tell you what they don't show. The turnover rate is insane. It is insane in esports compared to pro sports. You feel me? Thousands of players grind esports, but only a fraction go pro. And even fewer last. You feel me? Even way fewer last. Like, it's crazy, bro. I don't even know how to say this, but this is real. This is something that's really a problem, an issue. You feel me? Because it's not just a career that's losing once you're done. Whether you're playing basketball, lacrosse, football, whether you're a pro at Call of Duty, a pro at Dota, League of Legends. It's not just a career loss when you're done, bro. It's an identity collapse. As I mentioned, it's an identity collapse. But there ain't no infrastructure for that. There's no space to discuss that. And I want this podcast to be some sort of space for that bridge between esports and sports, because we're in this together at the end of the day. The way it's looking, it look like these two environments gonna end up end up bridging together soon, and the hybrid athlete will take over, because there are some hybrid athletes right now in leagues that just mainly focus, like LeBron James. What is he, top 50 Madden player in the country, not even in the world? And he's also in season 23 of the NBA right now, wilding. Come on, gang. That's a hybrid athlete. That's one of one. That is one of one. But I'm saying, bro, in esports, there is no infrastructure for that. At least in traditional sports, when you're done with your career, you have an alumni network, you got a degree to back up on, a degree to fall back on, you even have a career pipeline. But in esports, everything is still building, everything is still raw, everything is still unstructured, and these kids are facing identity foreclosure at a lot younger age with less support. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous because the psychological hit of realizing that you're not who you've been spending the last 15 years being no more is beastly. It's beastly. It just happens at different phases compared from traditional sports to esports. At esports, it happens a lot quicker. You're a lot younger. In esports, you're a little bit older. You have a lot more to fall back on. You feel me? Because you might have the opportunity to go to college and do all this and do all that. But the same psychological impact is right there in both worlds, bro. It's right there in both worlds. I'm not even gonna lie, it's the same feeling. just in a whole different arena. And that's a fact. It's the same feeling in a whole different arena, bro. That is a fact. My hands is up. I'm not lying. That is a fact, bro. That is a fact. But I'm gonna raise the question: how do we fix this? How do we fix it? How do we pivot from the athlete to the builder? Like, what do we do when you're done? What do you do when you're not a pro player no more? How do we fix it? How do you survive the death of the athlete? The death of the esports athlete? How do we do that? I say, you gotta realize something fundamental. You gotta realize something very fundamental. The game, the sport you played, the things you did in your esports gaming on the field, those didn't make you great. You, the person, you, the player, whoever you is, the esports player, you made the game great. The game didn't make you great. You made the game great. You feel me? You were able to showcase your talent to the world in a beautiful format that got you to a position in life where you could be grateful for the things around you. You did that. The game didn't do that. You did that. That's something that most people gotta realize fundamentally first. That's number one. Feel me? The traits you develop in that arena don't belong to the arena. They don't belong to the arena at all. You develop them in that arena, but they belong to you. Understand that. They belong to you, bro. You think you're just good at lacrosse or you're just good at NBA 2K? Nah, bro. Nah. I'm gonna give you some scientific facts right now, bro. You're not just good at your sport. They're good at pattern recognition. They're good at executing under extreme pressure. They're good at digesting fine and adjusting your strategy in real time. Like, come on, bro. That's called adapting to the battlefield. They're good at adapting to the battlefield or whatever environment you're in. They're good at repetitive, grueling discipline when nobody is watching. Like, these is fundamental, crucial skills that you are good at that just goes over the back of your mind when you lose that identity that was tied to it for so long. You feel me? Your physical body might be tired or your digital reaction time might have slowed down, but your processor is still elite. Like, you are still elite, gang. That's a fact. My hands is up, gang. That is a fact. You are still elite. Stay 10 toes down, bro. You are still elite. You have to translate the athletic identity into a builder identity. And that's why I want to create a space. That's what eSports is for. eSports. That's what Talk 225 is for. You know me? Because I'm not just talking eSports. Obviously, I'm talking eSports. I'm also talking sports. I'm building a community for athletes. Regardless of you're an eSports player or a regular athlete, bro. Either way, we all face the same identity foreclosure. It's a fact, bro. You gotta translate the athletic identity into builder identity. Man, that's a fact, bro. I ain't even finna lie to you. I personally graduated back in May with my master's. I speak over 5 languages. But it's like, hey, you got all these degrees, you got all these skills, you got all these things. Your whole identity was tied to a sport for a certain time. And when that's gone, you try to, I believe, you lose who you think you are. But it don't gotta be like that, bro. It don't. It really don't, bro. You can just sit there. A lot of people just sit there and let the foreclosure consume them. You feel me? They ain't got no outlet to speak about what they've been going through, so they give into other substances that's really harming them, like alcohol, drugs, and all that. Like, you don't gotta do none of that, bro. You ain't gotta do none of that, bro. Because me personally, bro, I remember the locker room, and I know you do too. Whoever you are, whatever game you play, whatever esports game you play, whatever traditional sport game you played, you all remember that locker room. Even if you're still there, you remember that shit. It's a fact. When the play breaks down, you don't cry to the ref about that shit. You improvise. You build a new lane. Feel me? If a ref call a play you don't like, what you chatting for, bro? You build a new lane. You build a new lane, and that's what this is for, bro. That's why I took the time and created the athlete identity protocol. I feel That's important. You know what I mean? Because it's something that really demonstrates that even when your sport is gone, even when your esport is gone, you can still be a high performance individual. You're just not an athlete no more. Let me rephrase that. You could still be a high performance individual. You're just not in your arena anymore. You feel me? That's it. So I created this athlete identity protocol because I got tired of seeing my brothers in arms, both on the field and on the screen, lose their minds when the game ended. Like, the game ended, but you ain't gotta lose your whole identity around it. You might have built your identity around it, but the game ain't make you, bro. You made the game. Always know that. That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. So I built this little identity protocol for any athletes that's esports athlete or not, regular athlete or not, that's out there. It's a little PDF guide and a coaching service to help you break out of that box. To help you break out of that box that they put you in. It's a high performance identity audit. You feel me? Because I be tied down to what they decided you is after you're gone. After you're gone from your sport. I be tied down to that. Like, essentially, what I did, I don't mean to even talk about myself, but I feel this is an important topic to be discussed on the eSports podcast. Mind you, it's an eSports podcast. Mind you, essentially it goes, you take the same exact discipline you will use to study a playbook, the same exact discipline you will use to study an entire playbook of what to do, who you playing, who you're going against, blah, blah, blah. And you just use that to build an audit for your life, for your personal brand, for your next pivot. Because even without your sport, you still you, gang. Understand that. Even without your sport, you are still you, gang. Like, if you're an athlete navigating that shift from player to owner, from competitor to builder, you don't have to do it blind. You don't got to do it alone. I'm here with you. You know what I mean? I got an audit for you. Let's help each other. Because we all got it. We all are here to serve each other at the end of the day. At the end of the day, man. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro. Because all the skills transfer. You just need a transitional manual to understand it. And that is a fact, bro. I can't even lie about that. And that is a fact, bro. Man. And it's crazy because companies pay millions for these traits that you got. For these traits that you earned through the sports that you've been playing, through the esports that you've been playing. Like, for example, a study from Deloitte showed that former athletes often outperform their peers in leadership roles due to discipline and team dynamics. Like, you got all these leadership skills, you're able to do all of this, but you're letting it all go down because you felt that loss of your identity impacted you so much that you feel like, damn, what's my life about, you know? Like, your value was never the sport you played. The value that you got was the skills you built through it. Like, so that means you can rebuild. You can always rebuild your identity, rebuild who you is, find a new lane that fits you. Because at the end of the day, the game ain't make you. You made the game. Say that again. The game ain't make you. You made the game, bro. Like, what is we talking about, game? That's a fact. That is a fact, bro. That is a fact, bro. But you need awareness. You need structure. You need awareness and you need structure to know what you're doing. And that's why I got that identity protocol. Feel me? I made that. Not just for me, but for us. Because it's really something crucial that a lot of people should really get into. But this is a topic that ain't even talked about. It's a topic that ain't even discussed. It's a fact, bro. I remember back in 2023, after graduating in undergrad, I applied to over 100 job applications. 100. No clear career path. Not a single one. Just rejection letter after rejection letter. You feel me? You keep grinding, you keep building, you keep going. You don't stop. Because I promise you, all the skills you build through the sport that you play, whether it be eSports, gaming, whether it be skills in the football field or basketball court, all that translate, and you are highly above other individuals that ain't never got the opportunity to step in that arena with you, or the individuals that never got the opportunity to take that footstep, put on them cleats, put on them pads, be with your brothers in arms to go win the battle, bruh. Feel me? Feel me? Because when the play breaks down, it's like life, man. It's like when the plays break down, you improvise. You gotta build. You gotta be able to do stuff. You know, you can't just fall back and let identity foreclosure take you over. You can't, hold on. Let's go back. Because that was a bar. I ain't even finna lie to you. That was a bar. You fall back and you can't just let identity foreclosure flip you over. Something like that. I don't know. It was a bar though. I said it, man. It's a fact. It's a fact, bro. But truth be told, there is a massive void right now. Millions of kids are being pushed into esports academies, millions more into traditional AAU circuits. Like, we are building armies of competitors, but we are building zero infrastructure for when they go home. We're building zero infrastructure for when that's done. I mean, I asked, as I mentioned earlier, I asked the question of what happens to an athlete and why does society treat them as if they don't matter when they're done playing their sport, if they were a pro at it. I ain't saying society should treat them any differently or give them any special, you feel me, any special treatments. I ain't saying that. I'm basically saying, why are we giving up? You know? Why we ain't got no infrastructure for this? I mean, we don't just talk about the future of the game. We are building a community for the future of the game, for the future of the players. That's what we got to do. If these players, if they gave you their gift of whatever sport they played and showed the world this gift, and you got to see it beautifully performed on the field, in the court, or online in the gaming system, when they're done, what you gonna do? Just throw them away? Let them lose their sense of self? Come on, gang. That's not logical. That's not perceivable. You can't just... But I understand people treat people like commodities. Insane, man. Insane, man. But bro, if you are listening to this right now and you feel that hollow space in your chest because the game ended and you don't know what to call yourself anymore, I see you, bro. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. The guy on the phone call, the guy that called me and thanked me for creating this space, I hear you, bro, because you're not just a former anything. You are a high-level processor looking for a new surface, a new interface. That's a fact, bro. That is a fact. What else can we do? That's a fact, bro. Like I said, this is something that had to be talked about. It's something that had to be talked about, bro. That's why I made my IP identity protocol. Because it's right. Like, why? Why are we just throwing folks out there out in the wild after they done perform all this, all that? You feel me? Don't let the game be the last thing you ever did. Let it be the training ground for the empire you're about to build. Hold on. What I just said? Hold on, let me say that again. Because that was, don't mean that was a bar. I ain't even gonna lie, that was a bar. I was spitting the fact. I said, don't let the game be the last thing you ever did. Let it be the training ground for the empire you're about to build. You feel me? Let it be that, bro. Let it be that training ground. But truth be told, it's not over. It's not over. Because gotta rub my hand because it's about to get spicy hot. Because truth be told, bro, we raise these athletes, these organizations, colleges, universities, eSports organizations, FaZe, for an example. This is my second time mentioning y'all FaZe. My fault. I ain't got no business speaking about y'all shit. But y'all put it out there on the internet for everybody to see. So it's like, now I know when I shouldn't. You feel me? But, as I'm saying, like with FaZe, regardless of the sport you play, regardless of it's esports, traditional sports, regardless if they considered you an athlete or not, regardless of if a coach recruited you and they show you no love, regardless of if you were shown a lot of love but then they ain't doing nothing much, regardless of all that, just realize at the end of the day, the game's gotta end, bro. Because every athlete will eventually become a former athlete. And the question becomes, do you become lost? Or do you become something greater? Tell me, that's a fact. Do you become lost or do you become something greater? Like I said, if you feel that void, if you feel that shift, if you feel that identity slipping, you are not a broken, gang. You are transitioning. You are not a former athlete. You're not a former athlete. You're not a former esports player. I mean, you're a high-level processor looking for a new interface. And that's a fact, bro. And that's what Talk 225 is about, man. This is not, it's not just about the game, but the players after the game. That's why I built that protocol. Because it's something important, bro. The protocol is there, the community is building. But don't let the game be the last thing you ever did, as I said. Let it be the training ground for what you gotta do, what you gotta do. You feel me? And that's a fact, bro. Because at the end of the day gotta end. At the end of the day gotta end. That is a fact. At the end of the day gotta end. I know this episode wasn't most a lot of esports talk as the rest of the episodes will be, but this is something real. You feel me? Talk 225 is that infrastructure for sports, culture, and identity. We don't just talk about the future of the game, we are building a community for the future of the players of the game. If you're listening to this right now, I see you. I feel you. I hear you. Feel me? You're not a form of anything at all. Get that through your head. You're not a form of anything. Hey y'all, this is Talk 225, and I just want to say you're not behind, you're ahead. Facts. If you're watching this, you're not behind, you're ahead. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you know you're a retired athlete or retired video gamer or esports gamer, feel me, who feels lost right now, if you know anybody who you believe might be going through identity foreclosure, and if they feel lost right now, hey man, send them this video. Let them know they're not alone. Got this. We got this. I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact. I'll see y'all in episode 4. We got it. Peace, y'all. Wait.